Hello all, this is O4 Mouse. I want to look back on a bunch of My Little Pony comics that I drew from 2011 to 2013 and some in 2014. Looking back on all these comics and things I drew, the person I was, and so much has changed in me since then. Since this time I realized I'm bi, I became a furry, became a better artist over time. I still like a lot of these drawings and comics and jokes. Some of them I don't think hold up as well, but we'll get to that as we get to that. And this fandom really did shape me in who I am today. It got me going to cons, got me going to meetups, meeting people, got me into drawing. I really am who I am today because I was in the NLP fandom. First, this isn't really a comic, but I kind of want to include it. It was the first thing I ever uploaded to DeviantArt on May 2011, my last month in high school. During that month, I watched all of MLP Season 1 in 2 days. That was the only season out of the time. I've just kind of started seeing My Little Pony everywhere during that time. I was like finally gave in and watched it. And I really liked it. Loved the art, loved the characters. It was very cute, very fluffy, very funny. And it had so much amazing fan art out there that I kind of wanted to be a part of it. Got inspired or jealous, whatever you want to say. So I kind of printed out like proportions of ponies people had made and started sketching these out on paper and kind of imagined a pony doing the opposite of drawing humans like this. And I drew this on graph paper in class in one of the last days of school when there was nothing to do. That was a fun day. I took a lot of art classes in high school. I never really got that good at drawing in art class. Just kind of like didn't push myself, I guess. And after high school, when I didn't have any art classes, it wasn't grades or anything, I just kind of kept wanting to be creative, kept wanting to create something. So I did. And I don't know, I'm very happy. I definitely feel like I've gotten a lot better at art, learning on my own, in my own time, trying to push myself a little further each time. Anyway, this is how it all started, I guess. This one brings back a lot of memories. Day 29. Draw a person reading. Just never comes out quite how I imagine. Aww. I still feel this. This was for Artist Training Grounds that Equestria Daily, a My Little Pony news site, was running. So they'd have a theme every day for 30 days and artists could draw something that day and submit it and it would show up the next day. It's a nice idea. Kind of like a iron artist kind of thing. So I had like a month experience in digital arts, still drawing everything with a mouse and drawing on paper first and taking a picture of it, going over it. I like redid the Equestria Daily page at the time, and this brings back memories. I'd visit Equestria Daily like every day, as the name suggests, I guess. All humans all the time instead of ponies. In Twilight, keep in mind this was all done in one day, but still kind of weird. Like there's no outline around her eyes. She looks kind of vacant. The highlights don't really show a three-dimensional hoof. Even like the supposedly good human looks off and more like a stick figure. Just had to show a difference between good, quote unquote, and bad that she actually drew when my art looks like this. So yeah, I had a long way to go. Even the little things like his arm coming out of the side instead of his shoulder. Just had a lot to learn. But, you know, that's important. And talent, creativity, it's all experience, learning. If you look back and see all the flaws and things, it shows you that you've grown since you've drawn this, right? It shows how much you've changed and improved, and I don't think if you would look back and say you'd do things differently, right? Look up advice, look up references. Always try and fail fast. Never be afraid to try, I guess. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. This is still relatable to me. This idea never comes out quite how I imagine. That's always, I think everyone feels that. Every artist feels this. Next one. Oh, Trixie. Oh, Trixie. You're so much cooler, smarter, and sexier than me. Why, of course I am, dumb little Twilight. Oh, Trixie, kiss me. Ah, la, la, la. Man, it's like my first comedic comic, I guess. I like the joke. It's dumb and funny. I like that the figures are kind of looking at her with disgust or amazement, I guess. Yeah, it's still like some weird art choices, like the background just fades into nothing. The little fuzziness of everything, like her eyes are very fuzzy. Uh, the highlight in her eyes isn't solid, it's just kind of transparent. There's a line right here instead of right here, which are where it usually would go. These figures are based off real life plastic figures that had this kind of shapes, these poses. I do like this joke. I remember drawing these out on graph paper, like each frame where I was, and just kind of. That's the thing about drawing on paper is that now that I draw digitally, it's a lot quicker to sketch things out and like move things around, deform them, scale them where I want them to be. But if you're on paper, it's not that easy. So, and also there's like a gap between drawing on paper and then you have to stop, take a picture of it, put it in your computer, and keep going. It's just a lot easier and quicker just to do it all digitally now that I've gotten better at drawing digitally. So that took a long time to get to that point, but I definitely recommend if you want to get into digital art, just force yourself to start digital and go all the way through your artwork digitally. As a piece of advice, I guess. This one is the first of a few derpy comics I did. She's lost in a paper bag, and then Dinky rescues her. Aww. Then they hug. And that's just so sweet, you want to throw up. I don't know. I like Derpy. She's like a totally fan-created character. And the only reason she exists is there was an animation error in the first episode that had a pony with crossed eyes. And the fandom just like glommed onto her and made a personality for her. And then decided this pony was Derpy's daughter because they have similar hair and colors. I think this is a lot better drawn than my last few comics. It has like a solid background. The colors are a bit better. The shading's pretty minimal, but it still kind of works. I like it got better at doing the eyes. They look a bit more expressive. Like here, she's like shocked. And I like this. I think this is pretty good style I had at the time. It was fun being in that fandom that like glommed onto certain things and like totally ran with them like every week. If there's a new episode with like a costume or something new people like, they would like redraw it 100,000 times. It's so high energy, so energetic that even the smallest little thing could become huge memes for a time. Yeah, it was fun. Something I haven't really experienced since then. I mean, the furry fandom, they're kind of like based on themselves. They're make things up and the community goes with it. But it's different when there's like a core canon that people are fans of. It's interesting, different experience. I do like, I think I prefer being a furry over being a brony at the time. I think there's a lot more freedom and a lot more like different things you can do when there's no core canon, there's no core characters. You can kind of make things up make things up yourself, make up your own canon. I do enjoy that aspect of being a furry. Next. Isn't it awesome? I like this. I had no specific reason for drawing this. I thought it was like a cute idea. I like the art style of this. I like that the colors in Pinky's hair kind of correspond with Rainbow Dash where they are in Rainbow's hair. I like the cardboard wing, how I drew that, and the little tape on her side right there. And weird things like Pinky barely has a neck. She looks kind of chubby. And Rainbow's head is way too big. She has like a very oversized forehead, I guess. Like if I was going to redraw this, I would like make this hair bigger to cover up Rainbow's giant forehead. And maybe add some blush here and I'm going to add like a tag that says non-toxic or something, or toxic if I'm being mean, I guess. I also started doing colored word balloons for different characters, which I did on and off sometimes. I'd still kind of like that idea. I do it a lot with my current comics to like make a color that kind of represents the character and do that. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. Makes it easier to see who's talking, I guess. One thing is like in GIMP, I use the text tool for all my comics. I think when I moved to Paint Tool Psi, at the time didn't have a text tool, so I ended up just like learning how to write text with my tablet instead of using the text tool, which I think looks better. Gives a bit more personality and goes with my art style better, I think. Yeah, it depends what kind of font you use as well. I guess if you're writing a bunch of text in a comic, it'd probably be easier to find a font you like and just type it out and format it, but I do like writing out text in my comics. So, Scootaloo, I was talking with Apple Bloom and, Sweetie Belle. I'm over here. There's two of you now? How do I know which is the real you? This is probably one of the dumbest comics I ever drew. This is just based on a dumb meme from around this time. Scootaloo said in one episode, "I am not a chicken," which of course meant she was a chicken in disguise or something. I don't know. Fandoms are weird, and jokes like that just kind of latch on for some reason. I like this. I did like referring to background images from the show to draw this background. I think I definitely gotten better at drawing ponies with like their curve and their legs right here. It looks pretty good. Their head is still way too big. Now they kind of look at it. I don't know. Once you kind of see it, you can't unsee it. Like half Scootaloo's head is half their body. If I was gonna redraw this, I might like make the last panel just more bemused. I think that'd be more funny than her getting angry. I like this. I like the background. Looks good. Ponies look good. Good expressions on Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo. I like it. Next. It's a very long comic. Oh, Sweetie Belle making toast, staring intently at toast. Fire extinguisher and toast sludge. Aww. Sad. Oh wow, how'd you do that so well? And are you going to eat that white muffin on your head? As a toaster fucking explodes in behind her. This is a very long comic, but I do like this joke. If I was going to do something like this today, I'd probably do it as an animation. Just because I don't like making comics with like 11 panels like this one. I do like this joke. I do like the expressions, like strictly this one is very funny to me. And I like that when Sweetie Belle sprays the fire extinguisher, it gets on Derpy off screen. I think that's a nice touch. One thing about Derpy is that she's a totally fan created character, so like her personality is totally decided by the fans. And like I try to think of Derpy more clumsy and ditzy, but not really dumb per se. Like a toaster fucking exploding, that's totally Derpy. Derpy not knowing the difference between a hat and a muffin, oh, it's a little too dumb for my taste now. I mean, what do I care? I'm not a brony anymore. But, you know, it's just kind of weird. It makes me feel weird. Makes Derpy seem too dumb. In my opinion, I guess. But I like this. It's a long joke, but it was fun to draw and fun to do. I'm not sure how I would draw this day, probably like an animation like I said. I try to avoid making comics that are this long these days, even though, I don't know, it is what it is. I like this joke. I don't think there's any specific reason why I drew this. I don't remember if there was like an episode where Sweetie Belle was cooking and did poorly. There might have been. Toast sludge. I like this. Even though this joke makes me feel a little weird now. Yeah, this is like a throwaway joke. Happy Pinkie Pie Day. Yeah. This is alright. I think I like the way the ponies are drawn more than the joke. The joke is kind of like whatever. It's just like a throwaway joke for 314. I think I've gotten a lot better at drawing ponies by this point. Like their heads are a pretty good size now. They're very expressive. I believe this was still done with GIMP. Did like vector like line tool and to do all these colors. I feel like it definitely got better than this picture, where like you see kind of weird things like the head's too big and no neck and rarely big forehead. This looks a lot better in my opinion. Feel like I've gotten more comfortable in my style drawing ponies at this point. Not really too much to say on this other than my style has gotten better by this point in 2012. So this one, tell me what it's like to have fingers. And Lyra, she's great. She's another fan created character, just totally based on this one image. This is from the show, just she's sitting like a human. So suddenly the fandom decides she's obsessed with humans and having hands and wanting to be a human and shit like that. So this is just off that. I like how this is drawn. I think it's kind of like a little suggestive. Oh, let me show you how it's like to have fingers. I don't know, it's all right. It's all right. I like it. The text here was written out and looks like written out in mouse. Not great. The word balloon is just like scribbles in the background. It's kind of weird, kind of very transparent and faint. And you're also just like floating in space. And looking at this now, I think Spike's like should be moved closer to Lyra. So like her hooves are on his bottom of his leg, I think. Yeah, poor Spike. Another image floating in nothingness. And it's alright. Sometimes that's okay. I think Lyra's my favorite fan created character. More than Derpy for sure. Hey Pinky, have you seen my copy of the Unabridged History of Equestria Part 3? Well, of course I've seen it. You've been walking around with it all week, silly. No, I mean, do you know where it is now? I don't know, Twilight. Have you tried looking in your library? Thank you, Pinky. I never would have thought to look there for a book. Oh, no problem, Twi. Wow, Pinky. You understand sarcasm so well. Aw, thank you very much, Twi. You sure do use funny words. So, I do like this joke. I think there were a few jokes in the show where Pinky misunderstood metaphors and took them super literally. And that's where this like idea in the fandom and this comic came from. I think some of these comics go on a bit too long. I think this one's pretty good with this, but I could have cut it off at this panel, just had this silence for the awkward ending. Some of these jokes I don't think I like that much anymore, but I do like this. These last two panels are pretty good in my opinion. They don't quite go over the other line, they're right on the over the line of my taste these days. I tend not to do comics this long anymore, just because it's hard to zoom out on Twitter for one. I want the comic to look good fully zoomed out, I guess, and mostly easy to understand fully zoomed out. And you obviously can't do that. You can't read anything at this zoom level. A lot of these comics are like conversations, and that might be a side effect of working with pre-existing characters. You could imagine a lot easier what they would say in certain situations and write like a dialogue script for them. It's hard to do that with my own characters. I guess I don't flesh them out enough. A lot of them are just like either me for my persona or just random characters I draw in different situations. I guess I'm not that good at creating my own characters. So I tend not to have that much dialogue in my comics these days. There's kind of like a small joke, a small dumb joke, rather than a conversation like this. But, you know, I tend to like my newer comics more than these ones. No, I do think this joke stands up. This comic, I still do like a lot. So, what's this brother of yours and why haven't we ever heard or seen him before? What are you talking about? Of course you've seen him before. He was there when we all celebrated Pinky's birthday, don't you remember? And he was there that time we all went to Cloudsdale together? And he showed up that one time Pinky went insane for a day? It's not like my brother just appeared out of thin air and now we're all pretending that he was here the whole time. Aw, that never happened. Psh, lazy writers. This was just poking fun at the season 2 finale that suddenly introduced Twilight's brother that had never been mentioned before. And I like this. This is a fun joke. And I got to reuse this one piece of art 3 times in the comic. And I like that it like overlaps. Like it's just like pasted onto a screenshot. Yeah. And I like that he showed up for this time Pinky was alone by herself. And then he just showed up next to her. This is a solid joke. And I like that I did a lot of work to draw these different backgrounds and all these different ponies. It was a lot of fun. I think I might cut out this last little joke Pinky's did. A lot of people were in the fandom were saying like, oh, Pinky breaks the fourth wall all the time. She did that a few times. And suddenly she's like a god who knows she's in the cartoon and everything. So I might cut this joke out if I was doing this again. Tone down the dialogue, made it not so on the nose in the last panel. This was a good joke, and it really takes me back to watching all those episodes in season 1 and 2 when I was really, really into it. And I think my style has gotten really good at this point at drawing ponies. I love the pastel, the like solid colors, and the eyes have pretty expressive at this point. They look very cute, very light, very fluffy. I love it. Just love this style. It looks great. It's great for a comic too because it's pretty easy to do with no shading or anything. It's good. I like it. If, however, I remove block C2 and place it on the left side, the weight will shift by 2.69 ounces and the structure will tilt 2.367 degrees to the left side. On the other hoof, removing block C3, I like this joke. It still holds up in my opinion. I like the art as well. This was for Artist Training Grounds as well, and the theme this time was a pony playing a game. I like how I drew the Jenga structure, where all the different types of wood kind of stand out against each other. Looks great. Looks pretty three-dimensional. I could totally see Twilight doing this. She's just a fucking nerd. I love it. Again, I like the style of the solid colors, and I've gotten pretty good at drawing all the different kinds of hair. Except for Rarity's hair. Rarity's hair is always super hard to draw. Yeah, I like this. I like this joke. There's a lot of dialogue. I could totally have this like with no dialogue if I wanted, but I like how the dialogue and she has numbering system for each block. It's great. Let's see. Ooh, are you gonna eat those muffins? Can I have them? Please let me have them. Hey, stop pushing. I just want to get at those muffins. Please, can I have some muffins? No, they're mine. Oh, okay. Another derpy comic. Again, she's a total fan-created character, so it's totally up to you how you interpret her. But I always thought she was never dumb. She was always just clumsy and ditzy, a little off in space, I guess, but never dumb. I don't really like this, how it portrays her like she doesn't know what a mirror is, doesn't recognize herself. Like even an elephant can't recognize their reflection. This does make me feel, just set me off a little just because I think it portrays her a little too dumb. But I do like the joke of the mirror coming alive for no reason and turning on her. That's a good joke. And I think makes this comic worth existing. And unlike the Twilight and Pinky comic, the sarcasm one, there's a lot of different action that changes each frame, so it's a lot more interesting to look at from far away. It's a lot more dynamic, which I think is good for a comic. Yeah, I drew several Derpy comics. I have one more to go after this. Derpy was never my favorite character, but she was very much a fan favorite, so I did like her. Maybe I drew too much Derpy in my time. Oh, it's useless, Twilight Sparkle. No pony will ever see me but as the wicked Nightmare Moon. It's not that bad, Luna. No one even remembers Nightmare Moon really happened. Come on, let me show you around. And this is Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash, this is Luna. Hey, nice to meet you, Princess. Yeah, you too. Oh, don't you just love my costume? It's so dark and evil and cool. Nightmare Moon was so cool, even if she was evil. All the smoke and illusions, those really cool shadow builds. But you remember that, right? You were there. Bye, Luna. No, Dash wasn't trying to be mean, she just doesn't know any better. Wait, what did I do? And this brings back memories. I made this like a few months after the episode this is based on was aired. It aired as like a Halloween episode in 2011. It's like early season 2. And there's a lot of hype for that. Luna, she was like the main villain of the first 2 episodes. Never heard from her again after that, so there's a lot of hype for see her finally come back in season 2 and see what she was like at like restored form. And that was good. A lot of hype. I went to like a watch party of that. Those are always so fun. There's a lot of energy and stuff for like season finales and season premieres and big episodes like that. I remember one time I went to one of those parties and we lost power partway through the episode, and just had to like sit there in the dark waiting for the power to come back. It was fun. Good memories. I always remember things like that. But I like this joke. In the first episode or second episode, Nightmare Moon made an allusion to like tempt Dash with these super cool flying squad dressed like that, which is weird to think about from in-universe because only Rainbow Dash saw that, so no one else understands this costume except Dash and Luna. Yeah, but we, the audience, get it. Yeah, I thought about that one day and wanted to make a comic about it. I like it. Some of these comics I think are too long. I think this one is a good length. I don't think it has too much extra. I think it has a perfect ending. I like it. And I think my art style has kept improving. I still didn't get a tablet at this point. I was still using like the vector-like line tools with the mouse to do all the lining and stuff, which was very limiting in what I could do. And so I was glad to finally get a tablet in 2013, about a year after this, and finally know I could do more complex shading and things like that, things I couldn't do without pressure. You just gotta work around the limitations, I guess. I can't believe I went without a tablet for 2 years. Probably be a better artist if I just got a tablet to start with and stuck with it. But you know, you learn you can't know what you don't know. But Big Mac, it says we have to wait at least 3 dates before we go from holding hooves to kissing. Nope. Don't even remember why I chose these 2 ponies to draw for this. I remember where I was in the summer of 2012. Season 2 had ended. I got a summer job that was pretty exhausting. I remember working on this for about a month and just coming home from work and being too exhausted to draw anything. And it sucked. And it sucked coming home and just feeling like I had no time to do anything. Yeah. It sucks. I'm glad I don't have that job anymore, a job that's so demanding or so exhausting anymore. I know I'm very lucky to be where I am now, and I do appreciate it a lot to have as much time as I do to dedicate to drawing and other activities like this. I also remember summer 2012, after like meeting a bunch of new people from running meets and stuff, and kind of started questioning my sexuality and started realizing I was bi over a period of time during that summer. So maybe this had to do with that. I don't really remember that much why I particularly chose to draw this over something else. Anyway, this is alright. It's totally see Twilight being a cute nerd. I think my shading has gotten better. Like there's more difference between the light and dark. It does make her look a bit more 3D in most parts. So it looks pretty good. I like it. It's cute. Kind of dumb and pretty suggestive. Giving her a hickey. Oh, this comic. Another derpy comic. Huh? Nom 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 nom. I love muffins. This is so cute and dumb and kind of... I don't know, don't think much about this. I think it's drawn pretty well. It's a pretty simple idea, done alright. Don't have too much feelings towards this. I don't know. I like her thoughts are in like the clouds instead of like a thought bubble or something. It's kind of interesting. But besides that, there's not too much to talk about other than like some huge heads in some of these panels. are weird. Don't really like this comic too much. It just feels like totally playing off the fandom and the fandom memes. Just, I don't know. Doesn't really say much, doesn't really do much. It's just kind of a meh comic to me now. You really put up that window fast. I mean, it only happened yesterday. Of course. We put up new stained glass windows all the time to celebrate all sorts of important events. Look, here's one of our newest ones still being finished up. That's pretty good, I guess. This is my personal favorites, and it's of you, Twilight. Princess, do you really need a whole window for this? It's not exactly my proudest moment, you know. Oh, Twilight, stop being so modest. You are hilarious. Anyway, moving on. It is my absolute favorite window, dedicated to the royal peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Really? An entire window dedicated to a PB&J sandwich? I'm sorry, Twilight. Have you ever had sandwich made with magically enhanced bread, royal jelly, and freshly made peanut butter? No. Well, when you have, then you can tell me it's not worthy of its own window here. I drew this for the season 3 premiere after it aired. The final scene had this image of Spike saving the crystal heart, which is what happened in the episode. I thought it was kind of funny how fast that window went up, so I kind of went with that. Had this little meme scene of Shine Armor throwing Cadence. That was funny. And this scene referencing the episode where Twilight went crazy. And then just peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I like this. This is a solid joke. I like it gets more ridiculous each time. Perfect escalation. I don't know. I don't need to explain comedy to you. You get it. You get it, right? But I like this. A lot of work into it, a lot of little details. I tried to make the windows kind of like this style, but they're not really as complex as this show. Yeah, I like this. I like this little character putting out the last little pieces of glass. It's a nice little touch. Yeah, it's cute. I like all the details. I like all the work I put into the fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich glass window. It's great. This is great. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, still going by 041744 instead of 04 mouse, which I didn't Twitch till like several years later. But this is a good comic. This one is great. Let's see. This comic. This is OC kissing Gilda, then getting punched right in the face. Freaking dweeb. It was worth it. And I drew this for a friend. He was really into Gilda, and this was his OC. I don't know, I like Gilda too. I like her character, like a tough kind of bully. I always was a fan of Gilda, and her design looks really cool. Like purple highlights on the edge of her feathers and around her eyes. Chest fluff. I always like how griffins were designed on the show. They looked really cool. Wish I got better at drawing griffins. Anyway, I like this comic. Not too much to say about it. It was a nice gift for a friend. It was fun to do. Ooh, RD, I got a challenge for you. Well, you know me, Pinky. I love a challenge. Okay, flying contest. Go! I don't think that's exactly fair, Pinkie Pie. Hey, what are you doing? Pinky, you okay? Wow. Hey, wait, that's not fair! Man, I like this joke. I think it still holds up. I think it's a great length. I like the art, even though they're kind of floating in space. Honestly, the art's kind of, take it or leave it. I think the joke is really good. I could totally see Pinky inflating herself in the show with like super cartoon physics. Yeah, it's cute. I remember drawing this in my college class, watching a documentary or something, and I had my notebook out in the dark, just kind of sketching these out as the film went on. And I remember feeling really accomplished, like I sketched all these poses, all frames that I wanted in the time the documentary was running. Yeah, it was fun. In college, I had my notebooks for notes and for all the classes. So in the margins, when I was just like taking regular notes for class, I would just like doodle a pony in the margins. That was fun. Like now, all my stuff is on a computer, my work and my drawing and everything really. So I don't really have paper and pencil out in front of me anymore unless I go get it. And it's kind of a shame I missed that. I miss like the random sketches and dumb things I would just draw on the margins for no real reason. It's always good to do that, I think. Kind of like stretch your artistic muscles, just kind of draw something dumb you're thinking of and draw something without like spending a bunch of time thinking about exactly how it's going to come out. Just kind of, sketch something down, throw something down, throw down a few lines. Always good to just practice. Doesn't really matter what you practice. What you draw dumb shit, I like it. I like this comic. I don't need wings, Discord, but just think of all the chaos you could cause. I drew this for the season 3 finale, where Twilight got wings and became an alicorn, and the weeks before that there are always a ton of rumors and arguments and things flying around that Twilight's gonna get wings and become an alicorn princess, and like at a certain point there are so many rumors and things going on that you knew it was gonna happen. There's like no way it's not gonna happen at this point. People were up in arms about M.A. Larson turning Twilight into an alicorn. It was really fun to watch. It's always fun to be in the fandom when those big events happen that get people really talking. Just a certain energy that very unique I like. I didn't really care either way if Twilight got wings or not. Just like watching back and watching the fireworks in the fandom. It was a good time. The drawing itself is alright. There's certain things to do differently, like shading on Discord's face to make it look a bit more three-dimensional. I'd probably change the shading on the horn to match the outline better. Small things like that, like the shading on the wing. Make it look a bit more like feathers, I guess. I still think it's a pretty good drawing. It's alright. Just seeing this just takes me back to a time in 2013. Everyone was worried about Twilight becoming an alicorn. Simpler times, for sure. I've seen you grow so much over all these years, Twilight. So wait, you've been watching me ever since I moved to Ponyville? Well, I had to make sure you're ready for this, Twilight. Does that mean you saw... Oh, you mean the time you and Spike... Yeah, that time! Oh, Twilight. There's no need for such modesty. I've already seen all you have to show. I think I'll just die of embarrassment now. And I like this comic. When I uploaded this, I added something extra. I was going to say the time you and Spike ate a whole bucket of ice cream in one night, I know! Can you imagine what all my friends would think if they knew I could be such a slob? I'd never live it down. I like this comic. This was another one for the season 3 finale when Twilight got her wings. In the show, there's like Celestia and Twilight in a void, and Celestia was showing her clips from all the other episodes to like show her how she deserved to be an alicorn princess now. So I thought that got me thinking about that. I like the little extra things I put into the frames, like Twilight fucking exploding, or Twilight confronting Trixie and zapping her and riding her away, or scenes from other comics I have done. And Twilight sitting like Lyra. That's fun. I love throwing in dumb little things like that into my comics. Just adds a little more personality, a little extra joke for those who pay attention. This was pretty suggestive for me at the time. I guess I was getting a little more comfortable reaching a little bit outside my box, just a little bit. I don't think I'll ever really draw straight up porn. I'll draw porn if there's a good joke in it, but I like things that have like a statement or a message or a joke that give it a little hook more than just porn or a cool drawing for the most part. I like this comic. It's a good one. Yep, it's pretty awesome. Pointing at stuff. Holding things. Griffins have it pretty sweet. This is alright. It's basically the same joke as Lyra and Spike, but with Gilda instead. And this was done with a tablet, and it's kind of like relearning and kind of experimenting a bit with my art style. I'm not really a big fan of how I did the hair in this, like those streaks. I think it could be done better for sure. I kind of like how I drew Lyra more into this, to be honest. Like the thick outline that's colored, and definitely could be better, like more solid colors in the hair and shit. But I do like how it looks. It looks a little more painted pastel. And this one looks a little harsher with black outlines and kind of darker colors. I think I was kind of in a rut in my art in this point. I had a tablet. I was kind of relearning or learning how things you did with pressure. It wasn't really good writing text like this. There's all these little pointy bits that made it look kind of off. unfinished. Gotten better at that, just kind of learning ins and outs of pressure and paint tool sign, things like that. I think at this point, it's kind of getting tired of ponies. I've just been watching so many ponies and just been drawing ponies all the time and just kind of wanting to branch out, draw different things for sure, but not really sure what to glom onto until I became like super hardcore furry. It's kind of like scary. I was kind of worried, like I've been drawing nothing but ponies basically for a long time. It's like, do I have to go through that whole process again? It's like, no. You know, everything you learned in ponies, all those proportions, learning how to draw things, learning how phases look, all that's still applicable. All that's still important. You just kind of like relearn different rules, different equations in your head and how things should look. Everything builds on top of each other, I guess, in art. You learn one thing, you're going to be able to use it in ways you can't even imagine when you learn it. It's just experiment, try different things. Art's always a journey. This one, I don't know. I think the art's pretty mediocre on this. This is a simple little animation I made in GIMP. I've always been interested in animation, but I never really got the courage to do it till last year. I started kind of experimenting when I got an iPad and then learned how to use Krita. I don't know, if you want to do animation, get Krita or another dedicated animation program. GIMP and stuff, it's kind of like animation is like a tacked on feature. It's not really what it's meant for. It's kind of hard to use. I guess I just wanted to show this. Like, I've always wanted to do animation, but always just scared to start it, I guess. So, I don't know. If you want to do something, just fucking start it. Just fucking try it. Try and fail at it, and then try again. I love this comic. Lyra, so excitedly jumping in the portal, transforming, but oh no, she's not a human, she's a dog. This is based off the Equestria Girls movie, which was like a spin-off movie where Twilight went to a magic mirror to go through the human world, well, quote-unquote human world, but they're all like still pony colors. So what if Lyra so excitedly went through the portal, but instead of turning into a human, like Twilight, she turned into a dog, like Spike did when he went through the portal? It's always so weird. It's Spike just like supposed to be a pet for Twilight? Weird implications. I remember going to see Equestria Girls, the movie, in theaters, like one theater 2 hours away that was showing it. Why there were none around here, I don't know. But went there, met a few bronies there, had a good time. It's like a big event to go see the movie before the real My Little Pony movie came out a few years later. By then I was totally out of the fandom. It was a big event when it happens. It's definitely like the biggest controversy since like Twilight got her wings is like, oh god, they're actually gonna do human ponies in canon. It was like, oh my god, the shit. Yeah. Oh, the ride never ends. This was fun. I love this comic. I think it holds up really well. If you've seen Equestria Girls, I guess. I also love like the spots on her butt as a dog kind of resemble the lyre that her key mark is. Oh, that's a great touch. I love that. Sister, what do you think of my new necklace? Your necklace is stupid. Well, your bib is stupid. This is no bib. Is the royal lunar seal signifying the night, and I wear it proudly. Then why does it have spaghetti sauce on it? I love how this comic turned out. I think it's a great final joke. I think it's really well drawn. I drew Luna as a gamer because there was like a meme in the fandom at the time that Luna was a gamer for some reason. I have no idea where that came from. She's like a dark nighttime person, shows she must be a gamer or something. Luna's cool. Gamer Luna's cool. I love that like her hoof in this one shot is strategically covering her spaghetti sauce stains. Final panel. I like added this at the last minute. I was like, that'd be a funny joke. It was. It's a great addition. I just drew this because I realized like her medallion thing looks like a bib. Like exactly like a bib. It's great. Luna's great. And this isn't really a comic, but I still wanted to talk about it. I did like fan art of an album that Jackalap made called Griffin Village. And Griffin Village was about this griffin, I think, like going around meeting different ponies and telling a story over 4 songs. There was Spring, where he met Lyra and Bon Bon and saw how in love they were, and then in autumn he met Derpy and Dinky and saw how good a mother she was. And then he met Gilda in winter and saw how sad and lonely she was. And then Big Mac in spring, and it's like very fell in love and very hopeful and bouncy and very sweet. I love Spring in particular. It's probably my favorite song of this album. It's just very uplifting and hopeful and very lovey-dovey. I love this album. I love Jackalap's music. There's something about the Brony music that really takes me back to that simpler time. You know, drawing ponies, watching ponies, staying in my dorm room, staying up late at night, thinking of ways I could make jokes with different pony characters. Yeah, and it was just a simpler time. I love Brony music. I still listen to it a lot. It's really fun. Like some Brony musicians like Living Tombstone or Mando Pony are hugely popular now, out and kind of like branched out outside the MLP fandom. And others like Jackalap unfortunately just kind of like disappeared and haven't produced anything new in years. Last upload 4 years ago. It's a shame. And I really hope that never happens to me. It's just like I just disappear for some reason. I really don't think that would happen as long as I'm able to post and draw. I really do enjoy my artwork and doing it, so I don't see that stopping anytime. I do love Brony music. I definitely recommend listening to Griffin Village. One more comic. Sister, what a lovely day is it? Indeed it is, enjoying my great sun. Why yes, we are. Is that Twilight I see down there? Hey Twilight! Can you hear me? Yes, I can freaking hear you. There's no need to yell, Twilight. I'm right here. And this is like the last MLP comic I ever drew. I kind of like got tired of the series at this point. I think this joke is executed very well. There's nothing like specifically referencing the show at this point. It's just like drawing pony comics as I draw pony comics basically. But I like this. It's a great joke. I like the setup of screaming. I could just cut it off like the last two panels and cut it here. Do those last two panels really add much? Yeah, maybe a bit. I think it's executed very well, and I love this joke. It's so dumb. It's so funny. I love it. MLP comics, they're like definitely hold a special place in my heart, I think. This is the last piece of My Little Pony fan art I ever drew to kind of close this out. I uploaded this in January 2016, and it's a Christmas picture that I uploaded in January. I was kind of like not really feeling enthusiastic about drawing this. By this point, I like almost entirely lost interest in ponies. I was several episodes behind and never caught up on season 5 at this point. And I don't know, since then I just like think like this piece, just like spending all this time on it and still coming out pretty meh. I was like ready to move on, do different things, try different things. Could probably make a whole video about my experience being a brony versus being a furry and things like that, but maybe I'll save that for another time. I definitely enjoyed being a furry more. Definitely a lot more freedom and things and what you can draw and what you can do when you don't have a canon to follow for one. I've definitely grown a lot. I mean, it's been 4 years, more than 4 years since I've drawn this. It's definitely feel like I've grown a lot as an artist and as a person since this time. Definitely become more outgoing, more confident in myself. It's always fun to look back and reflect and see like my old artwork and kind of talk about it. It really takes me back. I know I wouldn't be who I am today without drawing all these ponies, and as much as I joke about it and joke about how much time and dumb stuff I did back then, it really did make me who I am today. So I do look back on this time fondly. And I know I haven't made any videos on this channel in a while. When I got this idea in my head of looking back on all my My Little Pony comics, I felt a lot of motivation to do this idea. I thought that'd be pretty fun to do. I don't really want to make a video that I'm not super enthusiastic and motivated to do. You know, if I'm going to do something, I want to do it right. So output on this channel might be sporadic. I definitely feel like I'm more of an artist than a YouTuber for sure. I kind of make this channel as like just like a side project just to talk about something for a while. Put it out there. Anyway, hopefully someone likes this. If nothing else, I can put my thoughts out there and listen to them myself and see how much of an idiot I sound like in 10 years or something. I really do hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you next time.